Hello, everyone, and welcome back for another episode of the Outdoor Adventure Series podcast. The Outdoor Adventure Series celebrates individuals and families, businesses, and organizations that seek out and promote exploration, stewardship, conservation, access, and enjoyment of the outdoors. Our guest today is Keith Caceres. Keith is an astronomy enthusiast and a member at the Las Vegas Astronomical Society. Keith, welcome to the Outdoor Adventure Series podcast.
Thank you for having me, Howard.
Fantastic. Now, for my listeners, you're probably wondering, why did we invite Keith onto the podcast? Well, obviously, astronomy, outdoors, that's a match. By the way, you'll see this video. He's wearing a nice NASA shirt. It's got the logo going. But there's this very special event that took place over the last couple of weeks. And I thought, I need to know more about this. And so the first guy I thought about was Keith. And so again, Keith, welcome to the Outdoor Adventure Series podcast. I would imagine you're a pretty popular guy these days, or you and your fellow Las Vegas Astronomical Society members are pretty popular because of the James Webb Space Telescope.
Yeah, there's been a lot of interest. It's been a long time coming, and it's just unbelievable. It's so exciting to see it finally out there operating and bringing down new science.
That is fantastic. Now, definitely we are going to get into it to hear more about it, and just want to have you share about this love of astronomy. But tell us a little bit about your background and how you actually got involved or introduced to astronomy.
Well, I've always been interested in space and physics, and especially astrophysics. And I had actually even considered going into astrophysics, but instead I went into software development. But back in 2012, my wife and I were watching the news, and Kevin Jennison was talking about there's going to be an annular eclipse. And to see it properly, you'd have to go 2 hours north of Las Vegas. And so we decided, hey, why don't we go up to Cathedral Gorge State Park and go up there for the weekend and check out this eclipse. And when I went up there, the Las Vegas Astronomical Society was up there, and I was just blown away by both the night before. I got to see Saturn and star clusters and nebula and some really big telescopes. And then the day of the eclipse, the fellow that I consider my mentor and our former president, Rob Lambert, was out there, and his setup was so cool. He had this Astro video camera pulling down live video of the sun and the eclipse going on, and he was supplying that to the news. It's like, wow, I want to do that. I kind of put it away for a while, and then my older brother, he got me a really nice birthday present one time. He got me a starter telescope just like a year later. He knew that I was really interested in astronomy, and that was finally like that's what got me going. Like, I was like, okay, now I have to take a deep dive and learn all about this astronomical equipment and telescopes and figure out how to do this kind of thing. And that was really the impetus where I joined the club and started volunteering at events. And Rob had gotten me towards organizing events. So I've been the organizer of the monthly events for probably almost 7 years now. Okay. And I've been with the club for almost 9 years.
Oh, wow. Now, I'm finding it somewhat hard to believe that you only just got into this in 2012. So that's 10 years ago. We're not going to guess each other's age. However, I'm making the assumption that you've always been interested in astronomy, but really just never acted on it.
Pretty much. As far as the science part, I've always been interested in it. The only part I didn't know was the equipment part of it.
Okay. And
believe me, there's quite a bit to learn to do the near real-time astrophotography stuff that I've gotten into, but not quite. It's a lot easier to get into just visual observing with eyepieces and to get a simple like Dobsonian telescope, which is what we typically recommend to beginners that are just getting into it visually.
Okay. It's funny, when I moved to Las Vegas, I started to research about going out to the desert, and I've been a longtime photographer. And so my interest was astrophotography.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, Cathedral Gorge, for our listeners, is a fantastic state park that, when you're in Las Vegas, you need to get in the car and drive 2 hours, 2.5 hours, And if you can even spend the night, I know there's some hotels up near that
Yeah.
area, but
Yeah.
gorgeous place. And so back in 2012, you made the trip. And how did you begin to your involvement in the club? Did you just kind of go to the monthly meetings and just kind of talk to people, see what their equipment is like and pluses, minuses?
There's that. And like I said, our former president, Rob, I look at as kind of my mentor. I asked him
Sure.
a ton of questions about
Okay.
his setup and it just because he had this like astro video camera setup, he would get like live views and
Yeah.
nebulas and star clusters and stuff. It's like, wow, that is so cool. And people would just like gather around the screen and he would explain the various objects. And so, yeah, I'd ask him a lot of questions. I joined the forum for the equipment manufacturer, which was Cam at the time.
Right. Right.
And then I've kind of graduated up to DSLRs. I've really gotten into that. I've been using Canons for those. And
Oh, I liked it, by the way, because I have Canon.
yeah, and that's gotten me also into more like daytime photography too.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just that and just really diving in, like reading everything I can get my hands on for the equipment. So like when I get interested into something, I just start reading like all kinds of stuff about it. It was
Gotcha.
like all consuming for that first 6 months.
I can imagine. And Google it's a benefit. It's also a curse. You can go down some rabbit holes. I remember visiting the society's annual meeting, not annual meeting, the monthly meeting. I think it was last year out at Floydland Park. And I got out there early. I had no idea where I was going. I eventually found you guys, and you were just setting up your equipment. So
Mhm.
I'd have to think that you took Rob's mentoring to heart because you had a pretty neat setup.
Yeah.
And by the time I left, everybody was huddled around you as you're showing them you're pulling data down onto your screen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
It's very much taken after him. That's
yeah,
what he would have been doing.
he'd be very proud of you. He'd be very proud of you.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about the Las Vegas Astronomical Society. What, besides the annual, keep wanting to say annual meeting, besides the monthly meeting, what else is going on with the society and how are you serving your current members or attracting new members?
So we are a 501c3 public charity. Our mission is basically science education to get out there in the community. And our primary function is outreach. We do events at schools. One of our club officers, Francisco, he does a ton of events at schools, especially before the pandemic. He'd probably do like 50 a year. And in community service organizations like the Girl Scouts, the Boy Scouts, and others. And of course, we do our big monthly public meetings, which are the ones I organize. We do those every month except December because of the holidays. So then we do at the planetarium, the CSN Planetarium on East Cheyenne, we do our monthly meeting, the non-stargazing meeting where we meet in the planetarium dome. And we usually have a presenter or an astronomy video to talk about a subject. And before that, we talk a little club business and people can ask questions. And all these things are pretty much open to the public. We really don't have a lot of things where it's only members. We also do have an observatory site up at Mount Potosi that's in the Boy Scout camp up there.
Okay.
But they are right now, like at the Boy Scout camp, they're renting it out to Ford Motor Company and they have it up for sale right now. So
Okay.
it's a little in flux. We can still access that, but we don't know the future that's going to be if they do find a buyer for that land and sell it.
Okay.
So yeah, we don't know exactly what's going to happen there, but club members that are dues paying members that join, they can request time up there and we just have to give us some lead time to get permission to get them access up there.
Okay.
So that's one of the benefits of membership. We've been just getting a ton of interest. Like since the pandemic, we had to go online. We would get people come to visit events that weren't even in Las Vegas because we were suddenly online. We've had people join from other areas that aren't around here. And we just get people hearing about us through events and they join up. Also, we do some events for some of our donors. Like every May, we do what is it called? International Astronomy Day. We do an event out at Sky Canyon Park. They're kind of they're a big partner of ours. They donate quite a bit to the club, and we have a lot of fun out at that event. They really support us as far as like blocking out lights, and we typically want red light when we're there because it doesn't ruin your dark
Right.
vision. So they cover a ton of the lights with red film.
Okay.
And really, it's a well-attended event. I've seen like 1,000, 1,500 people out there.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out next May. And I produce a podcast for the Boulder City Chamber of Commerce. Jill Lagan, who's the CEO, is the host. And last week, or actually this week, I should say, Tuesday, we published a podcast episode. Her name was Ashley. I can't remember her last
Ashley
name.
Pipkin?
Ashley Pipkin.
Yeah, I know Ashley.
All right.
She's a member, and she's my contact when we do events at Lake Mead.
Oh, fantastic. See, small world. This is like 2 degrees of separation here, Keith.
And she's been a monthly meeting presenter for us too.
Fantastic. Yeah, because we learned all about the efforts that the Park Service is helping, Ashley and her work, helping communities become better appreciators of dark sky and not overlighting the surrounding area. So, well, that's a small world. It didn't even dawn on me. And here I'm thinking, I'm going to share this with Keith. But
she's a friend of mine. Yeah, she does a lot of public education on light pollution and noise pollution, how it affects animals, and she works for the Dark Skies. I can't. I'm going to get the name wrong.
It's like a consortium or something like that. Or
she does that. She started that Basin and Range Dark Sky Cooperative, but she also works for a portion of the National Park Service that is about light pollution and noise pollution. She goes around to all the Western region parks and measures it.
Very cool. Yes, she got a great job. She's got a great job.
Does.
What's the small world?
Yeah, really.
So what is we're going to get into the James Webb, but I'm curious, you've been with the club for a while. Where is your go-to place if you really want to get some good dark sky and really kind of enjoy the surroundings, plus get some good viewing and imagery of the stars?
So
planets?
You already mentioned one. We go to Cathedral Gorge State Park twice a year, and that is really gorgeous skies out there. We do a spring and a fall event there.
Okay.
And then we also go to Death Valley. We try to do that twice a year. They've been having some construction that interferes with that event, so we're trying a new location this time. I believe that's scheduled for October. It's on our event calendar. But yeah, we usually do like October and February for Death Valley. And of course, they have gorgeous skies there. It's a very dark place. We've also done in the past, we've done around the Ash Meadows National Wildlife Refuge area. It's really beautiful out there. We haven't done that recently since the pandemic, but it's almost as dark as Death Valley out there. It's really nice.